Well, let's speak now to Stephen Fish, Professor of Political Science at the University of California, Berkeley. Professor Fish, very good to have you on the programme. Thank you for joining us. So this Easter ceasefire that President Putin announced, is this all for show?
Yes, it's all for show. Perhaps Putin wants to hand Trump another card in Trump's effort to support Putin, as he does completely. So Trump can say, well, see, Putin wanted a ceasefire and the Ukrainians didn't. He's looking perhaps to just strengthen Trump's hand. But we have to remember that Trump has been foursquare behind Putin all along. He seeks to undermine Ukraine's position. He claims that Ukraine was responsible for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And Trump has never been serious about a kind of even-handed peace or about supporting the Ukrainians. He's been completely on Putin's side all along and even echoes his talking points. I don't think this is a serious effort on Putin's behalf to try to end the war.
So you say this is about playing into President Trump's hands, but President Trump and his team have said they will walk away unless there's any movement. What would happen if that happens?
Well, they're going to walk away anyway. I think Putin just wants to give Trump a talking line where he can say, see, Putin wanted peace and the Ukrainians didn't. That will strengthen Trump's anti-Ukraine, pro-Putin hand. I don't think that the American government under Trump walking away from this supposed effort to broker peace is going to make that much of a difference. I think what's made a big difference is for the United States government, after President Biden left office and Trump came to power again, abandoning Ukraine, siding with Russia, and changing places completely in the international system. For 80 years, the United States was a country that supported its allies and stood up to its foes. It supported its democratic allies in Europe as well as East Asia and around the world. It led an international order that was very positive and very propitious for American interests. Now Trump has decided that the United States will not side with and support other democracies, but rather seek to be a junior partner in a coalition of autocracies led by Vladimir Putin. That's the big change in the big picture. Now, what really matters here, of course, is if the Europeans step up to try to fill in that void that's been created by Trump's abandonment of Ukraine and siding with Russia. And there are real opportunities here for Europeans to take on a new leadership role and rise to the occasion. Perhaps Prime Minister Starmer, Chancellor Merz. We see other European leaders coming to the fore. The head diplomat of the EU, Kaja Kallas, Mette Frederiksen, the Prime Minister of Denmark. There's now room and a real demand for real leadership among Europeans. What remains to be seen is whether they will follow through and really provide it.
Well, that's a question that's really been playing out ever since President Trump took office and these threats to walk away from Ukraine started. You know, the question over whether Europe can fill the void left by the United States. But the fact is, the US hasn't yet properly walked away from Ukraine. It is still sending some support. It's big business for the US defense industry, if nothing else. I wonder if actually it will happen, whether the US will just continue to support Ukraine and whether President Trump will just play the lines out to the press corps, but in reality, nothing will change.
Well, if you look at American support for Ukraine under Trump, it has diminished radically. The United States doesn't provide anything like the military support that it did before. Now, you're right; that relationship was beneficial even for United States arms manufacturers, because all the aid that the United States provided to Ukraine went to purchases by Ukraine of American-made arms for the most part. But Trump so strongly sides with Putin. He so accepts Putin's story on the war, and he apparently thinks that he's going to get favorable financial terms from Russia. Remember, that will benefit him personally, let's face it, and his cronies. Let's remember, Russia was the only country that the Trump administration didn't slap tariffs on. I mean, it's hard to be more ostentatious than that in showing your support for Putin. And going all the way back to 2016, when Trump was running for office and Putin supported him surreptitiously in his election campaign, Trump has been in Putin's pocket. You can even hear it in his public statements. He is literally repeating talking points that the Putin administration is giving him.
President Trump would, of course, say that he's been one of the strongest presidents standing against Russia. Meanwhile, Professor Fish, this minerals deal that might be on the horizon between the US and Ukraine, what do you make of that?
I don't make much of it. Trump is trying to extort minerals from Ukraine. He might get something like a deal. I don't think it's going to last very long or be very substantial. Ukraine is not even rich. It doesn't have proven reserves and the things that Trump wants. We remember back to the $500 billion ripoff that Trump wanted to engineer of basically taking away all of Ukraine's natural resources. The fact is the Ukrainians have stood up to the Russians and guarded Western security, done the dying, done the fighting to ensure Europe's and ultimately America's security all along. We all owe them a debt of gratitude and try to extort minerals from Ukraine now. In response, it's just a typical Trump tactic. It's all about extorting from other countries. It's all about thinking the whole world, except perhaps Russia, tries to rip us off and then trying to get the best deal he can for himself. But I don't really take this very seriously.
Okay, Professor Stephen Fish from University of California, Berkeley. Professor, thank you very much.
My pleasure.